During the last City Council meeting 2 weeks ago, the City Council took action upon a requested preliminary plat, which was a replat of a portion of the Indian Hills No. 6 subdivision. A subdivision that was developed a few years ago with a street system attached to it. As part of the replat, there are some proposed modifications to the public street system that will need to be addressed through the vacation process if it is to proceed as originally proposed and as the preliminary plat was approved by the City Council. Take you through a little bit of information pertaining to what the request is and then ultimately ending up with a public hearing this evening on the process of considering a vacation of a public right-of-way. This is a exhibit that shows the overall area that we're discussing. The original plat, and my pointer is gone. Try this one. That's not much better. Borrow the pointers.
Is there a cursor on that lectern?
Not that you can see.
The original Indian Hills No. 6 subdivision is shown here on the screen in the heavy border, essentially in this area here. To help orient folks, this is State Highway 8 to the north, Mountain View Drive along the easterly edge, the Alturas Parkway area, the Alturas Urban Renewal District on the northeast quadrant. The area that is being considered with the replat of Indian Hills, a portion of Indian Hills 6, really is kind of this general vicinity, including this large lot, something in that area. And located within that is Aponi Place. The original layout of Aponi Place included what we affectionately call a bulb out of the right-of-way on this 90-degree corner. Those are often included to either improve the amount of frontage upon a lot, if it is a lot that's tapering to a narrower width as it approaches the street, or in some cases to allow additional space perhaps between driveways for parking, items of that nature. With the replat that was approved in a preliminary platform by Council 2 weeks ago, the proposal from the applicant is to plat over this section of right-of-way that we show in the hatched area here. And in order to do that, that right-of-way would have to be vacated by the city. In this particular case, the lots actually had fairly significant width at the street frontage, so I don't know that there was necessarily an issue with insufficient width, but there is, in the eyes of the applicant, not necessarily a need to maintain that bulb-out section on the street right-of-way. As is the case in any right-of-way vacation request that is received by the city, notices are sent out to the franchise utilities, power, gas, communications, things of that nature, also to the city utility departments to address whether or not there are any utilities located within the right-of-way in question. In this case, this is an undeveloped stretch of roadway. There are no utilities located in this vicinity and in this section of right-of-way, so that's not an issue before us this evening. Notices were sent out regarding the public hearing via the newspaper, but also via registered mail to those property owners, I believe within a 600-foot distance of the area of the vacation as well. The process that is normally then followed is the City Council would hold a public hearing, take any testimony with regard to the proposed vacation, either for, against, or in general terms, and then ultimately, after the hearing is closed, determine whether or not the council would like to proceed with a vacation. As is always the case in vacations, it must be considered as to whether or not the vacation is in the public benefit. That is generally a consideration with vacations in the state of Idaho, so it's something that the council should also consider. In order for the plat as proposed to proceed, this vacation would be necessary. If it does not occur, then the right-of-way would remain as is shown in the drawing. The preliminary plat probably would be modified in the final plat version to then accommodate the existing right-of-way as it stands today, and any lot adjustments that are proposed by the applicant. One last photo just to show you a general overview of what's out there today. This is from our aerials, actually from a couple of years ago. But again, Mountain View here on the east, the Alturas area, Alturas Parkway, Blaine Street coming down, and Aponi Place, essentially located roughly right about in this area. So as you can see, it's still in agricultural production. Really nothing has changed out there with the plat of the Indian Hills 6th edition a few years back. So that covers the presentation. Staff recommendations on this. Actually, we could go either way. So I really don't have a recommendation for you for or against. I think either one of them will work. So depending on how the council would like to proceed, certainly is either works for where the city needs to go and where the project needs to go in the future. So depending on what testimony you receive and decision you make, we'll make it work.
Thank you, Les. We appreciate that. Council, recognizing we're going to have a public hearing before deliberation, do you have any questions for Les about his presentation or technical ones? Yes.
I just had a quick one. If the right-of-way is not vacated, does that right-of-way get paved, or does the streetscape stay the way it is and that little bulb out is just right-of-way?
The concept as originally platted would be that area would be paved. It's something we would need to address in the construction drawing process as to whether or not there was a need to, in fact, pave that area. Potentially, I suppose it could be a reduced pavement section back to a typical street section around that corner. One benefit of a paving wider is because it is a fairly short radius, 90-degree corner, it would provide a little additional width for vehicles to make the swing around a 90-degree. If it is paved, then potentially there's a little more space for parking on the street, possibly between the driveways of lots 15 through 17.
Okay, thank you.
Dan?
Les, just so everybody's talking about the same thing, the right-of-way that's shown on there that's platted, that's street and sidewalk and whatever street tree lawn there might be as well. So that would could affect that, whether if we deny that, could affect whatever tree lawns or sidewalks as well. It's not just street we're looking at, it's the entire cross-section.
The cross-section of the roadway under our standard road sections. Aponi is, I believe, a 50-foot right-of-way as platted originally. Under the 50-foot right-of-way, it's a 28-foot wide street. The sidewalks actually extend onto easements slightly off of that right-of-way. So those types of easements would need to be retained in the final platting around this lessened 90-degree exterior right-of-way. But yes, all of those features would be retained with or without the vacation process.